Good evening. Thank you for having us here to allow us to present information to you regarding the changes that are happening in our industry. So our introduction here, we are a locally operated waste hauler. We've been serving the South Central Pennsylvania area for 25 years. We've been servicing this area, partnered with you guys for the past 10 years, which has been a very enjoyable relationship. We've enjoyed servicing the area and this community.
Can you move that closer to you?
Oh,
I don't think it's on.
it's on.
It's on.
Yeah,
Sorry, Aaron.
that's okay.
He was having trouble hearing you.
The next thing I'd like to address, industry trends. So over the past decade, we've had a lot of changes happen within the waste hauler industry. The first one being an increase in automation, which involves these lovely carts sitting over here. That is helped improve greatly with efficiency and safety. We no longer, when we can automate, we no longer have to have a person riding on the back of a vehicle, hopping off, grabbing bags that you potentially don't know what's in them, injuries, those sorts of things. And it allows us to be out there for a shorter period of time. The technological advancements that have gone along with automation, we've been allowed to utilize things such as GPS, which helps us navigate areas and again, operate more efficiently. We can tell where our trucks have been. So when customers do call in, we can give them information that, no, you've not been missed, the truck hasn't been there yet, things like that. It has also helped to reduce emissions because again, we're efficient, we're going, we come back in, we're not around on the streets as long as we were because we have this navigation and this technology that we can use. It has improved the overall quality of service as well. Another thing that's impacted the industry has been stricter environmental regulations. This has pushed our industry to be more sustainable, to increase recycling rates and try and encourage everybody to recycle, and the implementation of waste energy solutions as well. We've seen market fluctuations in our industry. This has been a global fluctuation. We faced challenges such as like reduced demand for recyclables. The demand for different materials has changed. Some of them are more wanted than others, so then we've had to deal with that, as well as higher contamination rates. We try to educate our customers as far as what is recyclable and what to put in there. Sometimes that doesn't get followed, and then we end up with contaminated loads that our buyers don't want. So that comes back to us. Another thing that we have faced has of course been the effect of the pandemic. Nobody has gotten away from that. The waste industry has not as well. This unfortunately has come down to worker shortages, disruptions in supply chains, and then changes in how we have to operate to accommodate still being able to serve the public while we have these shortages going on. So together, all of this has driven us to become more efficient with our waste collection and hauling. We faced a number of challenges in this industry. The first one has been rising costs for residential trash. Every municipality has seen this. This has been nationwide and it is attributed to several factors. Inflation and our operational costs. Other industries have been affected by this as well. Our main costs are going to be our fuel, labor, and also insurance. After the pandemic, insurance skyrocketed for us, so it was a huge jump. We've also seen workers' compensation claims, equipment maintenance, and it's had a direct impact on the collection services. We faced recycling challenges. As I discussed before, the market has had some disruptions, including the change in demand for recyclables and what is bringing in more, what is bringing in less. There's also been increased waste generation The volume that households are producing now is significantly more than it has been. Businesses and everything, it continues to rise. So managing this requires a different approach, which automation absolutely helps with. It makes us much more efficient. Lastly would be the pandemic, which that also exposed problems in the waste industry. So we've had to offer increased wages and bonuses to attract and retain employees in this industry. These are all the factors that have led to the higher pricing for waste collection. So why automated collection? There's several reasons that this method of collection is better. First is safety. As I addressed, we don't have somebody riding on the back of the truck. So there's not traffic to deal with. There's not shoulder, knee, neck injuries from throwing bags and things like that. It's made us more efficient. We're able to collect easier, quicker, and get the job done and be off the road, which helps with traffic and everything too. We're not a truck out there backing things up, mid-morning or late afternoon. It's led to lower turnover. The jobs become a little bit easier to do since they're not throwing heavy bags and dealing with messes and things like that. So it's encouraged people to stay with the industry a lot longer than they have. And lastly would be the reduced emissions, because we're on the road less, that's less that we're putting into the air with our vehicles. Changes that you can expect with carts. So automated waste collection does offer numerous benefits. With these carts, it does reduce street litter because there's not animals or anything like that that are going to rip open bags and tear things all over. And this also is reduces the risk for our drivers and our loaders, as well as residents. If trash does come out of bags and get scattered all over, and you have that in the roadways, cars and stuff trying to navigate that is not always a good thing. The wheeled containers are easy to handle. They do move very well. They're fairly lightweight. They come in a variety of sizes. So they definitely work well. With going cart mandated, the residents are limited to what will fit inside the cart. So that does seem to help make residents a bit more responsible for the waste that they are generating and how they're disposing things. It encourages some recycling as well because they only have that certain space to put their waste in. I have examples here of the can sizes. So 35 gallons is our smallest. That's typically suitable for an individual or maybe a two-person household. You can fit either one large 32-gallon bag in it or about 2 of the kitchen bags that most people use. The 65-gallon, that will hold about 4 kitchen bags or about the same, the 2 32-gallon bags. And it's suitable for a 3 to 4 person household. Most people tend to go with the 96-gallon. It'll hold the 3 32-gallon bags and approximately 7 of your white kitchen bags. That's suitable for households of 4 to 6. So we find that a lot of families choose that option. More single individual homes choose like a 35-gallon option because that's what they require. So this is how the side loader trucks work. What happens is the truck will go up to a stop, the arm will come out and grab the can, and then it dumps it into the truck. So it is much cleaner and neater. That is a video. If you click on the truck, you should be able to play that. I love this video.
Well, my sheet doesn't do that.
Oh, I'm sorry, we'll work on that.
Just click
We'll
on it.
figure that out.
Keep clicking.
So you'll see the arm's gonna come out and grab, it dumps it, and then it puts it back down in place, and they continue on to the next stop. They are really interesting. It's operated, the driver operates by a joystick. And there's cameras in there so we can watch every step of the way where they're picking it up. It does take quite a bit of training for these guys to learn to use them. Initially, some people think like, oh, that's super easy. It is not super easy. It's definitely a skill for them to use that, but our guys are great at their job. And so by seeing that, you can see how that would reduce the physical strain and the need for labor, being as you just have a driver in that vehicle. Okay. So we do have quite a few other cart mandated municipalities. Lower Paxton, probably closest to you guys. They're one of our biggest cart mandated municipalities. York Township down in York County, Manchester Township also in York County, and West Manchester Township. They are probably our newest carted municipality in that area, and the feedback's been great. People have definitely been happy with the carts and what it provides. They're easy to store, so it's definitely been a good change for the industry for sure.
Don't you have Swatara Township too?
Yes, we do have Swatara.
Because that's mandated.
They are
as
cart
well.
mandated as well,
Okay,
yes, yes. Okay, and so the billing options for this, there's pretty much two billing options. Is one, the municipality can bill the residents. Sometimes that will lead to a cheaper cost. So there is a potential savings there. And with this option, Penn Waste would still take the customer service calls as we do now. The second option is that we would continue to bill, we would continue to take the customer service calls. However, we are requesting that we be allowed to suspend and cease collection on accounts that do not pay after a certain period of time. Generally industry-wide, we are asking for municipalities to consider that, as it can be quite a toll when we have customers that simply refuse to pay.
What happens if there's a buildup of garbage and you're not collecting?
That is why some municipalities we're asking for consideration of it. Generally, once garbage isn't collected, we do start seeing them, call in to see what's going on, and we do get payment, or we are able to make arrangements with them, or your township ordinance, and not having the ability to have garbage laying around, you as a township can pursue that further as well and may have more options than we do as far as getting them to pay that bill.
Right, what happens to the garbage?
They wouldn't collect it during the time they're unpaid. As soon as the bill is paid, they would be collected then. And it all would be whatever's sitting there would be taken then.
Okay.
And I do believe that is all I have. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you guys.
How would residents get one of those?
So we would deliver those. Once it is decided on, we would send out education to residents as far as what is going to happen, and a third-party contractor that we have would deliver to all residents. Generally, how that works, you guys have two different services right now, kind of a basic service and a lower volume service. The basic service would end up getting the larger, the 96-gallon trash can. Low volume service would be delivered a 35. Once everything is initially delivered, if there was any reason that somebody needed to make a switch, there would be a grace period that there could be a switch made.
What do you do with the existing cans? Are you removing those, or?
So if there's existing personal cans, we would not take those from the resident. If there's existing cans as far as rentals, the resident would just go ahead and keep that. We wouldn't deliver a new one unless there's something, unless it's broken or damaged in some way.
Actually, to follow up on that, I had reviewing this issue, and it gave me some pause on what Steve was talking about. Like, we already do the recyclable automated now as Penn Waste.
Correct.
Assuming Penn Waste won the next contract, from what I see, many of the recyclable bins are in perfectly good condition. Mm-hmm. Would there be an opportunity for customers to does decline the new bin until theirs gets, like if you had a record of it. I just don't want to generate, it just bothers me that we would generate a lot of waste. Collecting, say, 10,000 recyclable bins when 8,000 of them are in perfectly good condition.
Sure.
It just bothers me. I don't know if there's a way to work around that or not.
Sure, so new recycle bins would not be delivered. It would just be the trash. If anybody has a
okay.
problem with their recycle bin, they could give a call into us and we would, if there's a bar broken, there's a crack in it, the lid's missing, something such as that, then we would replace them.
What's your turnaround time for the call? To return that call? Huh?
It should be within 48 hours. It should be.
Not 48 months, but 48 hours.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
And what's your name again?
My name is Erin. E-R-I-N.
Okay.
We'll be sure to get you taken care of.
Okay. And let me ask you something. If they spill while they're dumping that, and that's trash laying on the street, who cleans that?
That would be our responsibility.
The driver gets out and cleans?
We would have to send somebody back around and clean that up because that is our spillage. So we would have to take care of that mess that's created. Now, if a driver gets there and the trash can's already tipped over and laying there, then that would not be our responsibility. That would fall back to the resident to get that cleaned up.
Very good.
I have a question about alley collection. So how does the automated collection work in alleyways?
So in alleyways, that is where we would still likely utilize a rear load truck for that, because there are some areas that an automated truck is just not going to be able to get down. So there may be very small pockets where there has to be a rear load truck run or the much smaller pup truck to fit down those. But we could still, the rest of the township would still be automated then.
Okay. And then the other question I had is, how does the collection work, the automated collection, if there are vehicles parked on the street, if folks don't have off-street parking? And how do you collect them if there's like a wall of vehicles?
So that does become a little bit challenging. I do have a municipality that is carded that we work with where the driver will have to get out and pull the cart out to collect it. We try our very best.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sarah Lefevre with Penn as well. I'm one of the operations supervisors. So I'm actually out on the street with the guys. So in those cases, like I used to service in Swatara Township and would run into that, the townhomes, they have small driveways, they have multiple vehicles. So we have the vehicles on the streets that we have to work around. Obviously, going cart mandated, there will be a training period where we try to train the residents, where we might need those cans. Obviously, it's not always going to be available to have that open space, but we do try to allow that learning curve to take place where we, can leave a sticker with the educational piece that the carts need to be, 3 feet away from a stationary object, be a mailbox, telephone pole, a vehicle.
Yeah, my
But in the
question
off
is
chance
for
that
homes,
there is just
Sarah.
no other option.
Sarah, my question is for homes that
Uh-huh.
don't have that space. So if their vehicle is parked in front, or they have 2 vehicles parked in front, there's a small frontage. So they'd have to put it on somebody else's property if they were going to
I got you.
put it 3 feet away from a vehicle. It's the uptown area where there's some areas have small lots.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, we will work with those. Just because it's an automated truck doesn't mean that driver can't get out of that seat. If it's just a handful of people that don't have that space, we'll work with it. If it's going to be something that, we know is weekly and, say 30 homes down the stretch because there's no space, we'll work into that with the operations and use a rear load. Or like Erin had said, possibly our pup truck if it's a tighter area. Because there is definitely, we did review that at the pre-bid meeting. There's definitely areas that we will still need to use a rear load truck in there.
Thank you. And I have another question. It's about related to current service. Somewhere along the way, we went to where you have to call to schedule a pickup for a large item. So residents are just accustomed to, they have an item, they put it out, whether it's a sofa or just a small table or something. So somewhere along the way, it wasn't communicated in mass to residents.
Okay.
So I see a lot of large items just sitting out at the curb or in the alleys, you know, mattresses and sofas, because residents don't know they have to call for a pickup, because we didn't have to used to do that.
Okay.
So,
I didn't know that.
there you go. And I guess an easier way to do it, I called for an item pickup myself, and I had to leave a message with all the details. Then someone called me back. I was at work. I missed their call. Then I had to call them back. And then when I did talk to them, you know, I had to give them all the information again. So it's kind of a clunky process too. So people aren't aware, and then when you do call, you know, it's kind of a hassle. So if there were an easier way to report it, you know.
Those are some fine details I can address with our customer service, to just let them know what your thoughts are here, that this isn't a process that's working well as far as the call in and leave a message. Generally, when somebody calls you back, they should have all that, and the conversation should flow very simply and just be, I received your message for the couch, we have you scheduled for this date, and that should be the end of it. So I apologize that
Yeah, well,
it was clunky there.
yeah, it's, and then the other thing, this is just some customer service feedback. So when folks put an item out, a large item, they'll take it apart. Like whether it's a large carpet, they'll cut it down in pieces,
Okay.
or if it's a piece of furniture, they disassemble it.
Okay.
Well, your drivers will pick up a piece of it because it's one item. So they've taken a carpet and cut it up for convenience so they can get it in the cart easily, and they'll take one piece of carpet and leave the rest there, even though it's originally one item. Or like I saw a crib, they took one piece of the crib. So just feedback, because then
Okay.
this sits in, you know, in the yards, in the alleys for weeks as they pick it up piece by piece.
Sure.
So, I mean, a little common sense, you know,
Okay.
if it looks like it's all one item, take it all.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely take that back to our team, because it's one large item a week. The crib is one large item, whether it's, you know, in 4 pieces or
Yeah, exactly.
one. I mean, I understand having to break it down, probably, you know, to get it out of the house and all that kind of stuff. So I will definitely take that back to our team and share that with them as well. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Would it be best to use the email, like info@pawaste.com? I started to do that today.
Okay.
You know, just a suggestion. Email, that way I have a record of it when I sent it.
Yeah,
You know.
the email is a great option. It all gets funneled toward our customer service and then like divided out amongst our reps. And, you know, then they follow up with those, get them scheduled, follow up with the customer, and the process should go from there. I find the email easier as well because I like records of things too. Sometimes, you know, getting on the phone with customer service, depending on where you're at in your day, can be a little more challenging depending on our call volume and your time that you have to spend on that, you know, particular topic.
Last question for me. If a customer lives in a townhouse, he has a 1-car garage, he's delivered 96-gallon can, he has to put his car in there, but that can is too big. Now he has to keep it outside, looks ugly. He can request a swap, correct?
Yes, after, you know, the initial delivery would be made, and everybody had received that, then there would be the availability, to make a swap for a smaller one.
Can a customer opt out of the trash program?
Not here in Susquehanna, it's mandatory.
Okay, good answer.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
If I use a can, but if I have more trash, I leave a bag next to it.
Okay.
So under this mandated system, what would happen if I have more garbage than will fit in my can and I have to put it in a bag next to it? Is that going to get picked up?
good question. So with the carts, it is limited to what will fit inside the cart. Outside of that, you could add into your bid specs for, for extra tags, to pay for that extra bag of trash to be taken, and then it would be taken in that way.
Okay. And second question, I actually have a can that has that handle device on it. Can I use that still?
No, with the cart mandated, Penn Waste would distribute the cart. You would need to have your trash in a Penn Waste cart for the collection.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Going back to recycling, you mentioned about buyers might not be willing. Who are the buyers?
I am not familiar with exactly who our buyers are, but it goes through, so recycle goes over to our recycling center, it is sorted by our machinery, and then it is baled into your plastics, the aluminum, all that kind of stuff. They have specific buyers that take that and utilize it in whatever they do for that. I can contact the site manager at our recycling center and get you a little bit more information on that and send that over if you would like.
Oh, yeah, that would be good, sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Aaron. That was great. It was good questions too, and
Yeah,
it sort of,
absolutely. Thank you, guys.
thank you.